Good morning. It is the day after the 4th of July, and we are going to be doing some trailer hauling today. I've got the truck charged up to 97%, and we're going to do some testing. So I've got 2 trailers to move today. I'm going to bring down my Momentum Grand Design toy hauler, and we need to get the holding tanks bleached. And I live up on 35 acres on a leach field, so I cannot pour bleach into my leach field. So we're going to take it to town, fill up with some city water, let it sit for a day. I'll bring it back up, and I'll take it back down in the morning because I don't have storage down there anymore. But we're going to get started. We're going to do some trailer hauling today, and I'm going to talk a little bit today about my 7,000 miles on the truck and my experience and how I feel about it. And then we're going to haul 2 trailers on one charge, and we're going to share a little bit of that today. All right, we are leaving with the Momentum toy hauler trailer at 97%. We have a 44-minute drive. We're going to go 31 miles. A portion of this is downhill. Okay. I like to turn my right turn signal on. Helps me see when I'm leaving my driveway if anybody's coming. So this trailer, I would say, is weighing about 8,500 pounds right now. Maximum load would be 11,500. Of course, that would put it 500 over what the Cybertruck is rated for, but we do not have the UTV in there, which is just under 2,000 pounds. So we should be, that would be what, 9.5 and then minus water and all that. So I'm just estimating around 8,500 pounds right now. We have a rattle on the dash up here that I hear on the dirt road, and you can definitely hear it, but typically I'll have a little bit of music on and it really doesn't bother me. I have to tell you guys that the rattle that I had in the back seat when I first purchased this truck has completely gone away. Just one day I just realized I wasn't hearing it anymore, and now it's gone. So I don't really want Tesla chasing rattles in a new truck. Of course, it's going to have some nuances. It's going to have, some noises, some things are going to adjust over time. And I feel like if I had Tesla tear open the dash to go after a rattle, it's just going to create more problems. So unless it's bad and I feel like something's falling apart, I'm not even worried about it. The Model Y has a lot more rattles than this. We're going to take it easy today. We're going to kind of see, without just really romping on the truck, how far can we get? I just don't want to push the truck to the limits. I know it could go 90 miles an hour or more with this trailer if I wanted to, but I'm trying to be conservative of my energy. And the same thing goes for diesel guys who are hauling a trailer like this with a diesel. Typically you'll find that they're doing 65 miles an hour max on the highway, sometimes 60. And so I'm going to replicate that. Even though I have the ability to go faster than my diesel and accelerate faster than my diesel, I'm not going to do that unless it's necessary. I have to drop this trailer off at my shop, and then I'm going to grab our enclosed trailer and haul it to Discount Tire, where they're going to put new tires on my enclosed trailer. So I'm doing a little bit of trailer swapping this morning. But here we're using the Cybertruck to haul a heavy trailer with a big footprint, with a big aerodynamic, not aerodynamic footprint. And I charged up to 97% just so that I could have a little bit of regen on the way down. I didn't want to go to 100% and be completely limited in regen. I have to also mention I did not condition the truck before leaving. The truck was at 88% last night, and I noticed a small blue bar on my charge this morning when I took it up to 97%. So the batteries are relatively colder right now. but that should be fine. Little charge, and we are able to regen right now on these small hills as we work our way down the mountain. Check all my doors are still closed. Just quite a bit to towing, guys. I don't know how many of you are coming from maybe just driving a car, the Model Y, the Model 3. Maybe you just had a different vehicle that was not a truck, and maybe the Cybertruck is your first truck. And I have to say, there's a lot to learn to towing. There's a lot to learn how to properly connect your rig, best practices, and and even like what I'm doing today, sanitizing your freshwater tank. I left some water in there. I really wasn't thinking about it, and then I realized, that's going to be a warm, dark place for bacteria to grow. So now I'm going to get it full of bleach, let it sit overnight, and then we'll dump it, clean it out, and it'll be good to go. Waving to our neighbors, and off and running we are still. Looking good. Okay. Cool. Do want you guys to hear what it sounds like on this dirt road, so I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and let y'all hear it. Once again, very smooth ride. Very, very smooth ride. Smoothest ride I've ever been in when it comes to hauling. So we do have a bit of a hill coming up in front of us. This will be the biggest hill that we have to contend with, and I'm going to baby it. I'm going to try to keep this white line as low as possible. I can see rocks right now just bouncing off the back of my trailer. We do have somebody behind us now, so that's unfortunate. That'll push me to go a little bit faster, but we'll see. We definitely will lose power fast hauling this big of a camper. And I've been talking with my wife. We are considering downsizing. We don't need this big of a camper. The only reason we got this large of a camper was for our UTV. And we rarely put our UTV in it. We find that we want to go to camping grounds that, of course, don't support UTVs. So we rarely ever haul it, and we're reconsidering going to something much smaller that would give us a lot more range. And that's all we really need, guys. All right, so I'm going to kind of try to hold it at 40. You can see we've lost 2%. Of course, here comes all our regen, guys. So I'm sure it'll have some friction brakes here as well. We dropped to 93% on that incline. So you can see we started at 95%. Now we're back up to 94. One of the nice things about electric vehicles is the regen. Now, if I baby this regen, I might be able to limit the friction brakes, and I'm not really worried about the guy behind me right now. I will get over for him once I get down the switchbacks here. Things looking good on the trailer. I'll pull over for them when we get down to the flat. Trying to maximize our regen. We do have friction brakes being applied right now, very little. You can see it kind of pulsing down here on the trailer brakes. We are not getting much regen at all, guys. We're pretty charged, so. But I must say, like, it's doing all of this automatically, right? The friction brakes are being applied automatically. I am not touching the brakes. So this is a very comfortable descent. It is trying to gain as much regen as it can. We're at 95%. I'm going to pull over here for the guy behind me because that's just what you do. Let's see if they'll go around us. They should, and they will. Good job. This is what you do. So all of you out there that are hauling and you're not familiar with hauling, just get over for people. You know, you're going slower, let them go around you and take your time. I think, you know, one of the things that I really loved about autopilot, which you all know we haven't received yet on the Cybertruck, is it just taking the stress away of driving. And human nature is to really just go, go, go. Once you get behind the wheel, especially at high speeds, human nature is like a race. And I don't know how many people, most people I would say, don't realize that. They don't realize that this is a psychological behavior that's happening. And so they're in a rush and they don't know why. And I think people, if you can start to recognize that you don't need to be in this much of a hurry, your life will be so much less stressful and you'll enjoy the trip. You'll enjoy your drive a lot more. So the only two things I'm missing when it comes to towing with this truck versus my 2022 Duramax AT4 is the extended mirrors. I do have a slight limited ability to see, but the way these mirrors are designed, they do help you see pretty far out, but not quite as good, obviously, as the extending mirrors of the tow trucks. And range. Those are the two things that the other truck did better. Now let me tell you what this truck does better. It's more comfortable, easier to load, self-leveling, more power, more traction, a lot better camera views, a lot cheaper to drive, maintenance, fuel, and I'm sure there's some more. But, and I guess how quiet it is too, maybe. We're still at 95%, guys. I think we've only lost 2% on the entire drive. 97% was our start. Let me go ahead and put some specs on the screen for power. Okay, looks like our current drive is 323 watt hours, so you can tell we have been really just gaining the juice going downhill. So obviously that current drive watt hour number is going to launch over 1,000, I'm sure, once we get on the highway. You know, and with electric, it's so easy to just gas it and, or, you know, hit the pedal. It's so easy to just go. But it does use a lot of power when you just hit the pedal hard. So I have to remind myself to slowly go into the accelerator. Here's where we're going to start getting all the looks. All them truck guys out there who think this truck can't do anything. I mean, I know people who've talked to me who couldn't even believe it had a tow hitch on it. I'm like, what do you mean? It's a truck. So smooth. All right, gentlemen, wait till we have a good amount of space to get going. Looks like after this car, we got plenty. All right, let's go. It's looking good. Doors are closed. All right. I'm going to use a little power just to get us up to speed. 65, and I'm actually going to try to hold 65 for a little bit. Very smooth. This is the first time I've had the tensioner set at chain 9, but I feel like that's where I need to be because those bars were hanging too low in my last video, in my last hauling. And boy, this is a smooth ride. So we're off the downhills, we're now doing uphills, and you can see power has gone up to 588, and it will continue to rise over 1,000. But I am going a slower speed this time just to see what this 5 miles an hour might help a bit. We're going to put our right turn signal on here, let people know that we're going to get over, because people are very impatient. So if you put your turn signal on, they'll at least know what you're trying to do, and then they can go around you. Like I was talking about earlier, people are very impatient, and I really just wish I could convey to the entire world, slow down, enjoy your life. Why are you in such a hurry? And I get if you're in a hurry, but I feel like there's a polite way to be in a hurry, right? Don't ride people's butts, give them space, don't be a jerk, and when the road's wide open, do your thing, right? I mean, you're not affecting anybody at that point, so why not? So we're still under 800 watt hours. We've gone 15 miles. We've used 12 kilowatts. I would say you do feel a little more wind in this truck than I did my Duramax, and maybe that's just the road height, maybe it's the tires. Now, because these tires are only at 55, is it? Let's take a look. Okay, so we're in the 50 range. And when I was towing with my Duramax, they were at 75, 80 in the rear and 55 in the front. So I don't know if that has a bit of an effect on how it rides, but I can feel just a little more wind when it comes to towing the size of a camper than with my AT4. But honestly, it's easy to get used to, and I don't feel like, oh my gosh, this is squirrely. No, I don't feel that at all. I can just feel a little more like, I don't know, a little more left to right motion, but just comparing, since I've really only towed this thing, well, I did tow it with a gas for a while, and all I did was hear the engine rev all the time, and then I towed it with the diesel, and of course that was just a dream, because the diesel could handle up to way more than what this is. So obviously I'm pushing this electric truck to its limits of what it's rated for, and that's just fine. I want to see what it can do. And look, we have nobody behind us, and the guy that has a diesel that's hauling a comparable size camper is actually going slower than us. We're about ready to turn here. I'll let you guys listen to the motors wind down and grab some regen. Taking it nice and slow. See, both of those trucks were hauling UTVs, sorry, that this truck would have no problem towing. That's a good example just to see, like, how bad really is it driving the electric truck? 694 watt hours, and I'm really surprised we're actually coming down 691. So at lower speeds, this truck will haul much further. And now I know I have way more than enough power than I need to do this job today. So, you know, how many of you guys would be worried about this? How many of you would be worried you got to go 45 minutes? You got to go, 30 plus miles. You've got to go drop trailer, grab another trailer, go to another town, get it dropped off, come back, swap trailers. Then on the way back, we're going to have substantially more weight in here. And I'll look up what the freshwater tank weight gallons is, and we can calculate the weight difference. And then of course on the way back we're going mostly uphill, except for all this area, but that last 11 and a half miles or so will be uphill for the most part. So quiet. I feel like I'm on an airplane with no turbulence, or very little. This truck averages 400 watt hours with no load, and we are currently running at 676 at 55 miles an hour. Wow, so smooth over those bumps that used to throw me in the air. I can only tell you guys that there is two suspensions in this truck. It's hard for me to explain, but basically it used to only ever be this suspension going down. This truck has suspension in both directions, so if you get kicked up, it is dampening that and down. So you're getting a totally different experience with this truck when it comes to the shocks. The way that it doesn't have shocks, right? It's all pneumatic, which is awesome. That means it's completely adjustable. All right, we're going to come into this roundabout. Go ahead, start slowing down, get some regen. Still holding just under 700 watt hours, 693. I always wave at my fellow Tesla drivers. I first got my Model 3. We all waved at each other when we first got our our Teslas. And now there's so many people that have Teslas that they don't wave at each other. Kind of felt like, how the motorcycle guys wave at each other. That's what it felt like. I still wave, especially in the Cybertruck. I wave at the fellow Tesla drivers. Okay, guys, this is my first time just kind of letting it come up to speed, nice and easy. And it's really helping with our power. All right, we've gone 23 miles, used 16 kilowatts of power. Still under 700 watt hours, just really right at that 698, 700 mark. There we go, 704 going up this hill. Very impressed, though. I've gone up to 56 miles an hour. Hopefully Tesla will put an update out soon to take care of this whole semi-looking thing behind you. When you're in tow mode, it should allow you to pick from different trailer profiles. And then it should allow you to record that. So how many miles has this trailer been on the road? Those kinds of things. Those are things that Tesla needs to add, is to track maintenance on your trailer, have a better illustration of the trailer, and to let you save which trailer you're towing with so that the profile will automatically load up for different settings that you want with that trailer. 24 miles, 25 miles since charge, 18 kilowatts. We're averaging 713 watt hours right now. So I did want to just mention my 7,000 mile update in the Cybertruck. Some creeks have come, some creeks have gone. and ultimately still very solid of a truck. Nothing that I'm running to Tesla complaining about. The only complaint that I would say, and this is going to be very specific to me, is the driver's seat on the sides that cup up are a little stiff. And after several hours of driving, my side of my hips hurt a little bit in the seat. And I've asked other people that have been sitting in the passenger seat if they've experienced the same thing, and they've said no. So I feel like maybe I just, am a little wider set person, who knows. But I think it's gotten better over the mileage. I feel like the seat is kind of softened up. So I feel like in another 3,000 miles, I won't even notice it anymore. Really, I would say that's my only complaint. The software has been solid. I've had a couple bugs where the screen's made a noise and gone blank and then come right back. I've had to reboot it maybe twice the entire time I've owned it. And other than that, no problems at all. It's been a solid truck, through and through. And every time I tow with it, I'm very impressed, very thoroughly impressed. If you guys get the range extender battery for this, I'm sure it will be perfect for those that have big trailers that want to travel a long distance. But I did want to talk just a little bit about that. So I went to the GM dealer with my daughter and her Terrain, GMC Terrain. And I went in there jokingly because I had my Cybertruck parked, and I said, hey, can I get an oil change on my Cybertruck? And they laughed, of course. But then they started talking about their EV Hummer they had parked out front and how it had the same range as the Cybertruck. Well, that's with over 200 kilowatt battery pack, guys. So if I plug my truck in at night at 9 p.m. when I go off peak and I can pay 6 cents a kilowatt, if my truck's at 10% and I want to charge to 90%, it'll be ready about a half an hour before I leave at 6:30 in the morning. Okay, so it's ready, but it's needed the entire night with a 48 amp charger. So let's say I'm driving the Hummer and I need to go the same thing I did the day before. Obviously, I'm using a lot more power because the Hummer was not thought through to be an aerodynamic vehicle. So what if I can't even charge? What if I can't even charge my Hummer the night that I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and the Hummer's still at 65%? And I got to do the same thing I did the day before. Well, now what? I got to drive to a supercharger? And Hummers don't have superchargers, right? Well, I guess things are changing with Tesla, but if you would think about what the manufacturer has done, the manufacturer did not supply a charging network for GM customers. So I don't know if everyone's kind of thought about that. You could get the new GM truck, the Silverado EV with a 200 plus kilowatt battery. That's going to go further. It sure is. But to be practical in what I do, it doesn't make any sense for me. Now, one could argue, well, you only need to charge to 60%. But what I'm trying to point out is like the Hummer. If the Hummer gets the same range as the Cybertruck, but has to have almost double the battery pack to do it, that's going to cost me twice as much to charge. It's going to take me potentially twice as long. And unless GM opens up a faster charger, which would be what, like a 90-some amp charger? Well, most homes only come with 150 amp worth of power. So you're gonna have to upgrade the power to your home to run one vehicle. Now I have 2 electric vehicles, so we're using almost 100 in those 2 alone. But I have 2 now, right? So now I've got 2 vehicles that are able to do what this Hummer can do, but only 1 vehicle. So you guys are getting what I'm getting at, right? It just doesn't make sense. And so I don't think people really think about that. They just think about what's the range, what's the battery pack size, and that's all they care about. But you don't think about all the little things in between. Like if I bought this truck with a 200 plus kilowatt battery pack, how much would it weigh? How much would it lower its efficiency? And so I like the fact that Tesla is allowing people to add the battery pack for those that are going to tow a lot, right? I like that because then it gives you it keeps the utilitarian of the vehicle, right? It keeps this vehicle being utilitarian and allowing you to have it be what you want it to be. So if you want that EV range, then you can buy that battery pack, coming soon, of course, not available yet. But it's just some things to think about. I mean, the HVAC system is louder than the truck. And I have it on auto low. So it's the quietest it's going to be in automatic mode, which I prefer auto. Sometimes I get on a phone call and I wish it would kind of throttle the airflow back a little. I think that's another update Tesla could offer. My GMC did that, where I'd get on a phone and the HVAC fan would come down. All right, guys, we're almost there. We went 30 miles, 22 kilowatts of power used, averaging 724 watt hours. Pretty darn good. And I know this is kind of the best case scenario, so I'm sure that number is going to be a lot higher on the way home. Okay, awesome. We made it down, and I have my enclosed trailer over here that I'm going to take to get new tires. We have our Momentum toy hauler right here, just going to hang out while we do this work. I'll lock it up and lock up my shop, and we're going to head down the road. And it's been an awesome trip so far. Really excited about this. This is fun. Let's get on our path to the next trailer. Awesome. This is fun. And this lifting up and down of the truck has made this so much easier to hitch up and unhitch. It's been awesome. I love this locking tonneau cover. Just throw whatever you need back there and close it up and off you go. Awesome. Well, we're back on the road here. We've got the enclosed trailer with us. I would say this one's weighing about 5,000 pounds, maybe at the minimum 4,500, but it's a 7,000 pound rated trailer. And I don't hear any chains dragging, but I'm going to take a quick peek at the chains and make sure that we're good. All right, we're in good shape. Let's head on down to Discount Tire and get some new tires for our enclosed, and we're going to leave our camper there. We're off and running. So we got our current drive reset right here. We've used a total, we've gone 32 miles, 23 kilowatts, and our average was 730 overall since charge. And whenever you guys are in towing mode, make sure this is blue and not yellow. Yellow is like an automatic detection of the trailer, but I feel like some of the settings aren't quite there if you do that. So make sure you've got these settings lit up and you know you're set up properly. Now this trailer is not quite as wide as my other trailer, and it's actually, this one is perfect to be able to see behind you. So if you have a trailer that has the wheels sticking out, you're going to be able to see just fine with the standard OEM mirrors from the Cybertruck. And also when the truck is in towing mode, it will not auto lift and lower, which is nice. But I've had it do it to me a couple times when I didn't have the trailer plugged in. So the only way it knows, of course, is that there's a trailer plugged into it. So if you don't plug it in and you get into the truck, do your thing and get out, it could lower on you if you have the easy out setting set up. And that might not be what you want to happen automatically. So I would recommend just turning that off when you know you're going to be towing. And that's simply located under, I believe, dynamics, and at the bottom, auto lower. So I turn that off when I'm going to tow, just because I'm doing so much back and forth that I don't want it up and down automatically. I want to be in full control of that. Okay, so I think we left it around 77, 76. I did miss looking at that. This trailer should use less power. It is relatively lighter and smaller, and has a pointed nose on it for better aerodynamics. But leave good distance between you and the people in front of you, because it's not like it was back in the day. Back in the day when I was a kid, my parents taught me how to respect semis, how to leave space, how to stay out of their right side when they're trying to do a big right turn and not get crushed. And nowadays, people they get on the interstate and they jump right in front of semis. They don't have any respect like we did when we were kids and what we were taught to do. And so when you're pulling a trailer with any vehicle, leave some space in front of you, because the guy in front of you, he's not thinking about your load. He's not thinking about how long it'll take you to stop. So always leave yourself more room to anticipate people being unpredictable, I guess. Especially with regen, because I don't want to put on the brakes unless I have to. Right, the trailer brakes and the truck brakes, we don't want to use them unless we have to. So leaving more space also allows more room for regen. If they do hard brake in front of you, you can still slow down quite a bit with the regen. And by the way, this is the last video you guys will see the truck in its stainless steel. I finally have finished my design. I don't know what we're doing up here when it's going so slow. I finally finished my design on the business wrap for my Cybertruck. As you all may have heard, I do own and operate an HVAC company. And of course, this truck is a great billboard for advertising, so we are doing a full wrap. I wanted to experience the stainless steel. I wanted to know, how hard is it? Can I just spray it off with a washer and be done and dry it? Well, turns out stainless steel has its pros and cons, right? Pros is it's very strong and it's going to handle any rocks that are thrown at it. It's scratch resistant. I mean, you can always buff out the scratch, right? But on the other side of it, on the road that I live on, they oil it. And I found out they use magnesium chloride to do that. And that, of course, is not good for stainless steel or really anything. Eats plastics and everything else. So I've noticed it leaves a tarnish on the stainless steel, and I have to scrub and scrub and scrub to get it off there. It's at least 3 to 4 times the amount of work to do the stainless, or to clean the stainless steel. And so that's, of course, difficult for me. Of course, I want a truck that doesn't look full of mud all the time, but I do, I kind of like the way it looks dirty. But I also need to have this truck wrapped so that when I pull up to a job and I'm doing proposals for customers and such, they can see that this is a Grant's Heating and Air truck. And of course, so that's where I'm at with all that. But I wanted to experience the stainless steel. And I think if you live in the city and you don't have that magnesium chloride to contend with all the time, I think that you'll be just fine leaving it the way it is. It's really not that hard to clean. Every now and then you could go through with the polisher and like a stainless steel. And I have some brands, I can't remember the name. I've learned about them, of course, on YouTube. But you would be just fine. But for me, I think I'm going to enjoy the wrap more because it's going to be easier for me to just rinse off and then microcloth dry, and I'm done. There'll be no reaction to the magnesium chloride and such on the wrap. And I'm going to PPF the front nose of the truck, the hood of the truck, and along the sides and the back hips where most of the rocks and debris hit. Alright guys, we've been kind of chilling. We've had some slow traffic that really hasn't gone the speed limit, which is good for our range. We are averaging 567 watt hours. Current drive 10 miles, 14 minutes on the road, averaging 683 since charge. We've done 42 total miles. Our current power is at 72%. Feeling really good about today's haul. Trying to think in my head how much power I would use to do all this work today. And so far very impressed. And I think really it helps a lot to just not be in a hurry. Take your time. Okay guys, so I went in and got checked in here at Discount, and they're just going to do my tires right here with the truck attached. But one of the fun things about owning a Tesla, one of the many, is the theater. Now I can watch some Hulu, or I could watch some YouTube and relax in this vehicle while we're waiting to get work done. You can't do this in any other ICE vehicle that I know of. I'm sure they're out there, but these are all built into Teslas. That's neat. Hey guys, we're back on the road. We got our new tires for the trailer. Looking good, looking nice. Lots of tread on there. So we are heading back to my shop. Okay, so 71% on our departure there. We've got a 16-minute drive. It says we will lose 9% of our battery on this trip, and we'll see how accurate that is since the trailer has not left the truck. It says we will arrive with 61%. We got 10 miles to go. Tesla did not design the Cybertruck for beauty. Tesla designed the Cybertruck to be the most utilitarian vehicle ever made. And for me, that's the most important. For me, I want a truck that I could just do anything I want with, for the most part, right? Obviously, we all know there's going to be range issues with heavy trailers. But here I am today taking care of what I need to with my Cybertruck, with both trailers, no problem. I'll get home with just enough power, it'll be no problem at all. But yeah, there's going to be some challenges every now and then if I want to take that big trailer far. That's what superchargers are for. It's what Tesla's built this entire network for us to be able to get across the country, do what we want to do, and have fun while we're doing it. And you drive what you drive, and I drive what I drive, because this is what I want. This saves me a ton of money. The Cybertruck is everything I've been waiting for, and I love to support Tesla because Tesla has paved the way to all of this. Why would I support another company that hasn't even built a charging station yet? Makes no sense. So, just some advice from old man Grant here. Don't care what other people think about you. Open your mind. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy. As long as you don't hurt anybody else, you know what's right and what's wrong. Everybody is born knowing the difference between what's right and wrong in their gut. You don't need to be told. So, some things to think about. Enjoy your life. Alright guys, so truck said we'd arrive with 61%. We're currently at 64%. And we are now projected to arrive at 63%. So we can see we've actually done better than the truck thought we would. I'm not adjusting any HVAC or anything. My cooling seats are on level 2. I'm comfortable at 69 degrees. So no big deal at all. Love it. All right, we're all finished up, ready to hit the road. Head back home. We got the trailer, enclosed trailer with new tires on it. We've got the toy hauler all hooked up, ready to go again. Camera's running. And I have 100 gallons of fresh water in it. So based on the sanitizing requirements, that's 2 cups of bleach. I poured 1 cup in, started with that, got about halfway through, poured another cup, and finished off the 100 gallons. So what does that mean for our towing? Well, we've added 834 pounds of weight, and we are going to haul this back up the mountain, of course, all uphill when we get towards the mountain. We'll see how we do. Truck is at 62%. The navigation says we will arrive with 32%. Sure if you can see that there. 32% to arrive home. And we're going to see, I'm guessing it's going to be more like 25%. It usually doesn't understand the amount of power needed for this, but we'll see. So my prediction is 25%. Truck says 32%. We got a 44-minute drive back up, 31 miles, and let's do this. All right. Cool. Here we go. Actually, I like to go a different way, so we're gonna go a little bit of a different way. It might be a hair longer, but we got plenty of battery to go a little bit longer of a distance. I have to say, everything rode very nice. The truck, nothing moved inside the truck or the camper. Everything was right where I'd left it. So ultimately a very smooth ride. So if I were to guess, what would our weight be at right now? And the most it can hold is 2,700 and some change. We'll just call it 20. So that's 8,800 dry. So we're going to add 834 pounds to that. We're going to be at 9,600. Plus I've got at least 200 pounds of extra cargo and you know, stuff in there. So we're going to call it right under 10,000 pounds right now we're towing. Yeah, I'm going to say we're right about 9,900 pounds, something like that. Just under 10,000 pounds of towing right now. So we're 1,000 pounds away from the maximum rated capacity of the Cybertruck. This is fun. I love this. This is exciting. I know some people might get really scared doing this, and I understand. Like, if you've got to go a long ways and you're between superchargers and the weather gets really bad or something like that, you could potentially run out of power. But I don't know if you guys know, but sometimes you go on a road trip and there ain't many diesel stations either, but at least you can get a lot further with diesel. I mean, that's just a given fact today. I don't think that's going to be the same in 3 to 5 years from now. I think electric will be able to have the same range as a diesel, and okay, maybe 5 to 7 years, but how long is that really? We got a big headwind, guys. I can feel it. Big headwind right now. There's our over 1,000 watt hours. This is what I saw last time I hauled the trailer, was about 1,200 watt hours of power. But you guys know that's quite a bit of power. That's gonna really kill your range. If I get 400 on average, and that's, you know, 800 would be half your range. You know, and then you're going up another 400. So you really, if you're going to pull 1,200 watt hours, you've cut the range into 1/3, which would be about 100 miles of range, fully charged. So it will be real exciting one day when these trucks do have that kind of range and supercharging can take place in minutes. I mean, just think about having, you know, the range of a diesel and being able to charge in like 5 minutes at a supercharger. And then eventually the superchargers will allow for trailers. We'll have spots where trucks and trailers can pull in and supercharge. And one point I brought up in another video that I'm not sure people kind of fast forward through videos, you know, they don't want to watch everything, is the argument of towing with this truck and everyday use. So I want to make sure everyone kind of thinks about this. What do you do most with your truck? If you're driving your truck and with a trailer most of the time, you don't want an electric truck. Not now, not yet. But if you're like me and just need to haul some trailers every now and then, or not, or just from town and back. Now, of course, my town and back is 45 minutes, but still not a problem. And you're not doing this all the time. I might haul this big trailer maybe 7 times a year, maybe, when it comes to an actual trip. Not, this doesn't count, right? This is me just doing maintenance, but an actual trip I might be able to do 7 times a year with this camper. So if it costs me more to supercharger and is a little more inconvenient for those 7 times that I use this camper, who cares? Because all the other time I'm charging at home at 6 cents a kilowatt, I can go 300 miles for about $7. Okay, so 95 or more percent of the life of this truck, I'm going to be able to charge at home for that rate. So doesn't it just make sense? Who cares the argument that people want to argue and say, oh, it costs more to haul with that, da 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 da. But come on, we're talking about that one time you hauled and the one time that the diesel hauled, right? Now let's look at that of the overall ownership of the vehicle, though. That's what I'm saying. Think about that. I'm going to save a lot more than a diesel guy is. A lot more. Especially if he's like me and only hauls that big camper 7-10 times a year, then you don't need that big diesel. But, you know, some people just don't care. They want to pay more money to have the security of more range. I understand. But for me, it's kind of fun and a challenge because I've owned Teslas for so long that I don't fear range anxiety because I understand the software. I understand the Teslas, and I can predict what's going to happen and feel more comfortable about that. What are the case uses of the truck that you purchased? Because I'm going to tell you, back when I was younger in my 20s, I had a Duramax dually diesel crew cab long bed that I was going to put a truck camper on, and the damn truck cost me so much money that I ended up not being able to ever afford the truck camper I was saving for every year, and I drove this massive truck that I rarely ever needed, and so that's why it hits home for me, because I was young and I was dumb, and I just, hey, I want the big truck, I want the, you know, but at the end of the day, I didn't even need it. I could have been driving around a little 1500 pickup with a crew cab and been just fine. Didn't even need it, and I could have saved thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, and one, just because the truck was so expensive, two, all the maintenance and just the cost of driving a large truck around. That's a big thing. So just some things to think about. All right, let's do a little update. We're still using quite a bit of power, 1191 on average. The sense charge is still at 753 though, so that's averaging everything we've done today. There's Grant and his Cybertruck being a cyber D-I-C-K. So my buddy and I have this fun thing going on where we say don't be a cyber D-I-C-K, don't be a cyber D-I-C. And it's kind of funny. We just kind of say it like, oh, I'm being a cyber dick again. Anyway, little joke we have going on. It's kind of fun. For Tesla's very first truck, we're doing pretty good, guys. Very first truck. It's only going to get better from here out. We are using quite a bit more power, guys. All this uphill. 1,455 watt hours. Averaging 864 since charge. Running at 10 inches of ground clearance. Yeah, truck now says 25% arrival for power. Yeah, I think we're definitely hitting a pretty good headway, and that's why we're seeing these high watt hours. And we're going uphill. On the dirt road. %, prediction now from 31. Here we're going up the switchback, so you can hear the motors working going uphill. This is the steepest hill we have. Lots of power available. Really, really fond of the torque of these electric motors. So, you know, this might not be for everybody, guys. It's really up to you. That's why I want you guys to experience it and think, is there something that would be a deal changer for you? Maybe this will help you make that decision if you're coming to look for a Cybertruck. Going downhill, regen. Remember, this is complete silence. I only ever drive in complete silence when filming. I just don't want to deal with copyrights. With a little bit of music on, though, you don't really hear any little rattles. It all is just a quiet, smooth ride. Well, we're on my last bit of a ride here, and it says we're going to ride with 22%. And I would say it's pretty accurate. So I would say I was off by about 3%, 2 to 3%. So the Cybertruck did its job. It was able to succeed in the tasks I had at hand today. And that's what's important for me. Another thing I think that Tesla should add to the off-road mode is the temperatures of the motors and battery during towing. That's something that should be added as well. The regen during towing, cool. It's like an extra, it's a setting under your towing. You can have adaptive regenerative braking, automatically increases regenerative braking to provide more stopping power based on the estimated weight of trailer and cargo. So we're gonna get more stuff in here, guys. You know, this is brand new. Truck's just hitting the market. But they need to add the ability to track the amount of range with your trailer so that you have a profile and a memory of that trailer. You know, one of my biggest gripes about GM was they hide everything from you. They don't let you even know what gear you're in. It's true, guys. If you own a Duramax 10-speed Allison, you don't know what gear you're in unless you're running the Banks or some tuner that's going to show you the gears, or you put it into manual mode and pick the gear that you want. And then you only know what gear you're in because you're controlling the top end gear. So it's really still just like more of a way to guess. Well, I'm back. I'm at my house, and we arrived with 21%. No, we arrived with 22%. And we used an average of 1,423 watt hours. Quite a bit of power on the travel home. Added 834 pounds of water. We added a lot of water weight. We used 1,427 watt hour miles to get home with the added water weight of 100 gallons with a little over 800 pounds of added weight. We're just under 7,000 feet here, so I think it's about a 1,500 foot elevation, but I'll put that in text on the video and give you the elevation change. Our charge, since charge, our average watt hours is 959. So that was our entire trip of 86 miles, and 82 kilowatts was used of the battery pack. We arrived at 22%. The initial estimate was 31%. I said it was going to be 25%, and we had some headwind, and I think that got us right at this 22% arrival. So there you go, guys. Another successful day with the Cybertruck. Thanks a lot for coming along. We'll see you guys in the next one.